Right, I have no idea if this is in the right place. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, just hope for the best. Hi, my name's Laura, I'm 17, and this is going to be a kind of one-shot wonder thing because I quite frankly don't know how to edit videos and I don't really have the time to go through that whole process of learning how to do it. So for now, you're just going to get a solid one-shot kind of thing, and yeah, hoping for the best. I've been wanting to share this for a while, and I have done through social media and such as Instagram and Snapchat, not Facebook and Twitter and other more mainstream medias because of the audiences on those, but I have been sharing my testimony with some people personally as well, although I found it quite difficult to share it with people who don't have the same beliefs as me, and it's something that's made me quite nervous to do. But I thought this is something that people need to hear and maybe want to hear. There are some people out there, I know this could possibly just help one person, and if that's what it does, then my job is done. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and how I found God and how I found Jesus as a gay person, which I realised was an issue when I was searching YouTube, I was searching social media, quite worried about what other people would think. After being slightly turned away from my old church, I really struggled with my sexuality and feelings about being rejected by Christians and by other faiths. I was searching YouTube, and the first things that came back were how God changed me, how God made me straight. Christians aren't accepted in the church, it's not okay to be a gay Christian, and I realised there's a real issue that there's no accepting videos out there for people who are Christian and love Jesus and are gay, and that's not something they can change, and it's something they were born to be, that the way God created them. So I thought I need to put a video out there like that, along those lines, and I don't know if it will do anything, and I don't know when or if I will ever post this, but if I do, then hopefully it can change one person's point of view or encourage one person to seek the truth. And yes, I'm literally going to read from my phone because otherwise I'm going to stumble over my words like I have been in the past couple of minutes anyway. So although part of me wanted to wait to share what happened while I was at Soul Survivor this year, which was my first time at Soul Survivor, and I went along with my youth group, 14 plus, which is part of my local church, which is amazing. They'd been loads of times and told me it was a great event. I was really excited. Prior to going on Soul Survivor, wasn't quite sure how I felt about God and what I believed. I thought that there's probably something out there that's bigger than me because we must be here for a reason, but I was never certain because I wasn't raised a Christian. I'm not brought up in a Christian household. I was brought up by amazing parents and have a fab sister and extended family, but it's just not part of my parents' belief that to raise your children up in a religion, and I've kind of found a second family at 14 plus who are equally as amazing. But my parents have always told me that they'll support me in whichever pathway I choose, as long as I can justify my views and I'm loving other people, then they'll support me, which I think is incredible, and I'm so grateful to them for that. So they could be watching this as well, and yeah, that would be really cool. So as I said before Soul Survivor, I didn't know how I felt, but I was hoping that the week away would enlighten me and kind of give me the acceptance I needed. So I'm just gonna read what I wrote down the night that I became a Christian at Soul Survivor, which Sarah made me write down, and I'm so grateful she did, because now I can remember exactly what happened rather than just having to recall bits. It was such an amazing night. So 21st of August 2017, Soul Survivor Night 3. Past few days have been incredible. Before coming to Soul Survivor, as I said, I thought I kind of believed in a God and followed some Christian values, but I told myself and prayed to a God I wasn't sure was real yet, that I wanted a sign to show me that it actually is acceptable to be an LGBT person and a Christian. Despite Sarah and my other friends telling me lots of times, I needed some sort of confirmation and sign that Jesus accepted me. I thought it was great, my friends did, but it wasn't the confirmation I needed. This morning in the main meeting, I went up for prayer with a couple of other people as Mike Pilavacci had called up the people who'd been called names and hurt by others, and were really struggling to come up to the front for prayer. So we went up, and during the prayer I wasn't feeling much emotional response or any feeling inside in response to it, but the lady who was praying with me, whose name I don't know unfortunately, but I'd never met her before, I hadn't told her anything other than my name, and she just prayed with me, and she said to me that she'd felt a message and a wave of acceptance, and that Jesus says you don't need to change for him. And at that I just started crying, and I was hugging this lady who I didn't know, and she kept praying for me, and I just felt a flood of emotions. It was like sadness, but also like calm and happy, because that was like an amazing sign that it was okay to just be myself in the church. And my friend and I stayed up there, and we were crying and singing, trying to get our words out while still crying was quite difficult, but I got the confirmation and the sign that I needed. And I thought that while at Soul Survivor I wouldn't have the opportunity to officially become a Christian because we were leaving early due to GCSE results day, but that evening Mike called up anyone who wanted to give their life to Jesus, and I went up to the front with a couple of others from my youth group and prayed with about 100 people in front of the 10,000 people in the tent at Soul Survivor. I just felt a sense of calmness and happiness and joy, and Sarah came over crying and hugging me. Sarah's my best friend, and she said that she'd been praying for my faith for over a year. We carried on dancing and singing and celebrating and just had such an amazing time, honestly. And my first sense was like, God is real and he's good, like, and he loves me, he knows me, and he created me the way I am. He didn't intend for me to try and change my sexuality, to try and alter the person he made me, because I'm whole and perfect the way I am with him, and that's just part of his creation. A verse that really spoke to me and has done since I first started struggling with these feelings is Psalm 139 verse 14, which is, I'll praise you for I am fearfully and wonderfully made, wonderful your works, I know that full well. And that verse really speaks to me because it's saying that God's creations are amazing. They are created how they're meant to be. God doesn't make mistakes, and you shouldn't doubt yourself, because with him you are perfect because he made you. Of course this doesn't mean that everything is perfect. I'm not suddenly healed of every fear that I've ever had, and it doesn't mean I never doubt myself, but it does mean that I feel free, I feel loved by a God, and it's an unfailing love that knows no boundaries. Like it's forgiving, and every time that I feel abandoned or rejected or saddened by someone on earth, I know that he is up there and he cares, and I just think that's really cool. I don't know if that's just me, but it's just so cool, and I don't know how else to put it. It sounds ridiculous. So I've been going to my local church for about a year now. I went to a different one before that, but this is the church where I found my home, I found my faith, and I'm also part of the worship team now, which means I get to sing on a Sunday, which is great. We go and have a rehearsal with my friends, and we sing and we dance, we sing great songs, and yeah, it's brilliant. So I just wanted to make this video for people, two different types of people really, or three. One type of person, Christians, followers of Jesus, who believe that gay people and LGBT people, that's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and plus, so genderqueer people who feel that they don't have a place in the church, that they shouldn't be accepted, that God didn't create them that way. I'd like to tell you, please, and I know I can't change people's minds like this, especially just through one YouTube video, but we're the same as you. We love Jesus just the same, and you should be extending love to everyone, regardless of sexuality, and orientation and gender.